Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi there. Welcome to the 85th episode of A Couple Takes on MS. Hi, this is Dan Digman.
And hi, it's me, Jennifer Digman.
Welcome to this show. We're going to be talking about in the moment. And if you can hear the breeze blowing, the trees, the leaves, the birds, crickets, whatever, Jennifer, this is the first time we've recorded a show outside this whole summer.
This whole summer, and we want to be in the moment because it's Michigan, and I don't know how many more days we're going to have beautiful weather like this. And rather than look back on it come December or the miserable days of January and February, say, oh, I wish we were outside, we'll do it right now.
I think that so often it's easy in the summer, especially. It's like, oh no, it's just too hot, or in nighttime, it's like, oh my gosh, the bugs are going to be horrible and stuff. But it's like just being in the moment. I think that's what we really need to do. I mean, everybody needs to do it, but I mean, especially when you're living with multiple sclerosis, like my wife and I are. I have relapsing remitting MS, and I've been living with it for over 20 years now.
And mine is secondary progressive, and I've been living with MS since I was diagnosed almost 22
You're
years
pushing
ago.
22.
I'm getting close to my anniversary. Speaking of big dates, what are you going to be celebrating in a month?
Well, a month from today, I will be, 47.
47.
47, and then probably 3 weeks from now, we'll be celebrating our 14th wedding anniversary. And I think those are the things where you're just like looking at celebrating moments. And I think that's why it's so important. You know, we don't have to wait for, your 22nd anniversary with MS or my 47th birthday or 14th year anniversary. It's every day, celebrating the big things and being in the moment. Why is this important, Jennifer?
I think it really became, forgive the pun, clear to me to be present, to be in the moment when I was working with a dear friend, Linda Grace Cox, fellow blogger. She is in the blog, what's the word to
Blogosphere?
say? Blogosphere. She has, her blog is msrelief.com. And maybe a year and a half, year ago, she had talked to me about clarity point and just how important it is to be present in the moment. And I think we probably have spoken about things, this topic before, but it's so important to just be there, to be present, to appreciate your surroundings. Like today, the sky is the most vibrant blue, and our grass, even though it is August, is quite green still. And again, we aren't going to have these beautiful days forever, so it's important to just really enjoy and take advantage of the moment and to be here, to appreciate. Like, Dan, look at that big black bird flying over. I mean, if you don't appreciate the surroundings and being present, you could miss that. If you let your mind wander to a bunch of other things.
Is that where, because when you're living with MS and just how it's so distracting. I mean, we're living in so many things. It's like, I mean, the reality is my hands are numb. My arms are tired, my legs are sore, um, and it's so easy to get caught up in those things of saying, oh well, I can't do this, or you're always thinking ahead or thinking of what do we have to do tomorrow, what do we have to do today, what should I have done yesterday is always do, but it's just like just being right here, right now. I mean, why was that important? Why was it important for you, Jennifer, to get with Linda Grace Cox, a year or two ago, to do this whole clarity point? Why was that important?
It just gave me a way to think about life differently. It is easy with multiple sclerosis, and I have mentioned before, I no longer am able to walk on my own, so I am a wheelchair user. And it's really easy to get discouraged and to not see in the moment the amazing things that I am able to do. And as I've talked about numerous times with you out there in listener land, I struggle to feed myself. And it's easy to get discouraged when I'm having trouble turning on a simple light switch. But Linda helped me reframe my thinking of celebrating those moments when I can feed myself, or I can turn on a light switch. And if you're present in the moment, you don't let those things pass you by.
Present in the moment, then, so what happens then when you cannot turn on the light switch? And those are frustrating. I mean, how do you, or you're living in the moment, does that make it challenging when
It,
you can't flip on the light
it
switch?
makes it challenging, but it makes me appreciate you or my caregivers. You, my spouse, or my caregivers that help me during the day. Where I say, thank heaven, thank God, I have someone to help me who will turn on that light for me. Or, maybe I look at the moment and I say, God, this is so frustrating. I'm so angry. I want to be stronger. And instead of being discouraged, I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember this. This is going to be the inspiration to exercise tomorrow, or to eat a little better, or to drink more water. So I think it's important to be in the moment. I mean, as for you, Dan, do you find it's important to be in that moment?
I think it is. I think it's where you're just really embracing these things. I mean, because like right now, as we talked, I mean, we came out today just because it's like it's a Saturday afternoon and it's gorgeous. We could have done yard work, but it's like why bother? I mean, it was like the temperature's perfect, the sun's perfect, and it is those realities that come wintertime, these are the days that you dream of. These are the things we want when those things are bad.
And I think, we're a little tired today because, of course, Dan and I may have done a little too much yesterday, but, we were 40 minutes from our house getting to do something really empowering.
Well, and I think that's the thing. It's like yesterday was the epitome of those days you could never get enough of, and never did we envision it would be like that. We thought at first it was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be so tired, but it's like we pushed. I think the big thing was is I got up because it's Friday and I worked ahead. I was able to get out of work a little bit earlier because that's what we do in the summer. And so I got out of work early because we had a meeting set with Ashton is the legislative aide for our U.S. Congressman John Molinar, and for our MS advocacy work with August recess visits, we go and we meet with our congressman.
And we'll just say it really quickly. It's a misnomer to say August recess visits, because it's not like any of our legislators are just taking the time off and they're just sitting on their cans taking an August break. I mean, Congressman Molinar, we were not able to meet directly with him because he was up in another part of Michigan doing
Stuff with the Sioux Locks way up north.
Doing some other work that was very important. But his representative, or his
local chief of staff for the
she
for the
took
local
the
office.
time to meet with us, and we were able to talk about some of the priority issues that are important to the people living with multiple sclerosis, the work that the National MS Society we advocate for. So we were able to make that drive and devote our time, and she took time, and we had a really good visit,
It was
which made us feel super
it was an
empowered.
incredible visit, and I think we had coordinated that visit with Ashton because we actually had plans to be over in Midland, 40 minutes away, because we had bought tickets for Great Lakes Loons for the minor league baseball team, local and everything. And it's like the most fun to go over to Dow Diamond and watch the Loons. And we saw them take on the West Michigan Whitecaps. And I could go on about the awesomeness of the Loons.
And it was a fantastic night out at the ballpark. And it was an opportunity that we took advantage of. We met with Ash and we drove to the baseball park, which is beautifully handicap accessible. So I can use the bathroom in those facilities, which is much appreciated by #Team Digman. That we can do that. And there was record number attendance last night, which was super fun. And we were in the moment. We were enjoying it. And I think we said several times it was probably one of the most fun games that we had been to. Again, because it's the end of the year, end of the summer. And we know that those times they're fleeting, sadly. So we wanted to be present that much more.
And present in the moment that, what we also did is we wore our orange
Oh, yes, that's
mission
right.
stadiums for multiple sclerosis. If you heard us last week talking about MS for MS when we went down to the Tigers Stadium or Comerica Park for the Tigers.
I didn't realize how much baseball we got in this
total
summer.
baseball this summer. But
And
with
in
Sam
case you
Greenberg.
Yeah, in case you forgot, when I met you, one of the things I was a little leery about with this cute man that I was interested in was the fact that he liked baseball, and I just couldn't imagine that I could really
And now
grow
you
to like it.
love baseball, and I think, so with that, with the MS for MS, and I think this is probably something with social media, with everything. I mean, we got to the game really super early, and we took our picture and our orange T-shirts, and the MS for MS, and just increasing awareness. Now we were so excited to do that. And then, I took the obligatory picture to send to my sister back in Iowa, say, hey, we're at the game. But then it was just like, we really didn't, it's like we put our phones away. Because it's like, I think that's one of the things that stands in your way of living in the moment, is making sure that everyone's checking out your Facebook post or Instagram, whatever. It's just like to put the phone down and be in the moment. My moment is not being on social media with with my friends and family. The moment is being at the baseball game with my beautiful wife in the accessible section. Just the most gorgeous game, most gorgeous night. And I mean, just to be able to watch baseball and just to do it and to smell the smells and
to appreciate everything that was going on around you. And I think that is very important to us. And this summer we have been very fortunate to go to a few baseball games, as we mentioned, and we've been fortunate to meet with different legislators or assistant, like their aides for the legislators, to talk about those initiatives, priority of MS research funding. And we also talked about how surprise billing, how we need to do something for those of us in the MS community, or just those of us in general. Surprise billing was an important issue to talk about, how we need to limit that. It's a very bipartisan issue, which is always fun, because if you're meeting with a Democratic senator and a Republican representative, you want to be able to show them this is an issue that matters to both parties. Because it matters to their constituents, and it makes sense. So we were able to, this summer, get opportunities to get out and advocate. We were able to get out and enjoy the weather and go to baseball, and that's, I think that's really important. And you don't get these opportunities all the time, and it's easy I know living with MS, it's easy to be really hard on yourself and say that this today is a stinky day. But if you really can just reframe your thinking or turn it and just appreciate what is good about the day instead of focusing on what is bad. And that's a different mentality. I want to credit to you, Dan, that you really instilled that. That you look at the glass as half full, not half empty.
It's really easy to look at things, at the glass half empty. I mean, it's not to say you don't get frustrated, don't get angry, but it's, I would say, you talk about being half full, half empty, and I just remember Darren, one of my best friends from high school, and his dad. When we were 16, we just turned 16, and you can drive your car now. You do this, and I remember we occasionally, I did several times, ran out of gas. I mean, literally, my car ran out of gas, which was embarrassing because my dad owned a gas station in town.
I didn't want to bring that up.
But that was the reality, and my dad got frustrated with me. But he says, but Darren's dad. One time when Darren's car ran out of gas, his dad made the point. He says it costs just as much to keep your tank full as it does to keep it empty. And it's like, so Darren made a habit of when he got to like the halfway point, his gas was halfway full, down to a half a tank, he would fill it up at a half tank because you always had that cushion then. But you just made sure you filled it up, and then when we got to the half a tank, he would fill it up rather than waiting until it got empty. And so I think that's with us, with multiple.
That's a really good analogy you've never shared with me before.
Because I had a lot of years of life before you.
Yeah, but that is a good point.
But so it's just like we with MS, why wait, and why always look at it, or that you're always half full or half empty. It's just like always look and make sure that your tank is always full, or you look at your glass is full. I think that it's so easy, and it takes just as much energy to be angry. It actually takes less energy to be happy.
And that's a hard one to swallow, I'm sure, for
a
lot of people
truly.
out there. But if you can focus on what's going right and not look, because to a certain extent, don't you think that when you're frustrated and you're just focusing, excuse me, my mouth is not working, got that there, MS, but when you're focusing on what's going wrong, that frustration begets frustration. Oh, I couldn't tie my shoes this morning. Or I couldn't feed myself at lunch. Dinner's going to stink because I won't be able to feed myself. But if you look at it like, okay, I was able to get water for myself, or look at the things you could do, then maybe your mood will be a little bit better. Maybe that sounds Pollyanna to some people, but...
Well, it's like, when they say success begets success, and you just like... It's like, I have frustrating days. I mean, it's just like, it makes it look... I don't know if it's like making MS look easy. I mean, MS is a challenge, and it's hard and difficult and everything. But it's like just living in that moment, or looking at other factors, like when we were talking about, you not being able to feed yourself and how frustrating that is. But then when you take a step back and look like, well, what kind of food were we eating? That was a challenging food to eat. And so it's just like, don't beat yourself up because you couldn't feed yourself. It's like, look at the other factors and say, believe
or
in
the
yourself.
fact that maybe I had done physical therapy that day, or I didn't sleep well that night, the night before. So there are a lot of factors. I think it's easy to just blame MS for everything. And we need to work to look at the things that we can do in spite of the disease, or how we're moving forward.
Well, it's like, easy to blame MS, but then it's just like, but then do more and believe in yourself and make it a bigger deal of believing in yourself that you move forward. Because, like, yeah, the MS sucks, but it's just like, I've got more strength to get out of that hole than MS has to dig me into it. And I mean, obviously, yeah, that's Pollyanna, but I think it's just like, it helps then to live in the goodness of the moment and seeing. And I think that I talked to you, Jennifer, just how, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm sleeping, wake up, and then I can't fall back asleep, and then it's so easy, and I start thinking about the work project I have to do tomorrow, or what's stressing me out, and then you just get stressed out. But a lot of times it is the work, and I enjoy my job. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you think, oh my gosh, I got to get this done, and I can't sleep, and it just hits me. It's like when I'm awake, when I can be doing the work, it's like all I want is to be at that point where I'm in bed, where I'm sleeping, and it's just like, okay, well then, like, in the moment, this is the moment I want. These are the moments I'm dreaming about when I'm working, so why am I using my dream time thinking about work?
That's another good point. You're on fire, not literally, but
Stop, drop, and roll, man.
You're really making some good points, and I realized today that there were some things that I needed to get done. I'm thinking, oh, I can do it tomorrow because I'm a procrastinator by nature. I love you, Mom and Dad. But I think we all are a little bit procrastinators, so I come by it honest enough. But it's like, I could do it tomorrow. I feel kind of poopy today. I'll do it tomorrow. And then it occurred to me, what if I feel even worse tomorrow? If I get this done today, it'll be a notch on my belt. Like, good job, Jen. You did something you set out to do. And maybe tomorrow you'll feel that much better because you accomplished something, and you won't have that hanging over your head, nagging at you like, oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Like, get it done while you can. You just be present in the moment. If your handwriting is not super wonderful today, doing your grocery list or something, at least you'll have something. And maybe tomorrow when you're feeling a little better, you can make a better list than you did today. That's just a little example for me because I know that I need a few things at the store. But I'm just like, oh, I'll write it down tomorrow. Just shut up, Jennifer. Just do it today. Don't leave that out there just to nag at you and wake you up in the middle of the night where you're like, oh, I wish I would have done that today. Just do it.
Well, and I think sometimes it's just a matter of just getting started and do it. I think we put such a big thing. We make these things seem like they're so big. It's like, I know that yesterday or last night we got home from the game and we weren't feeling tired and we just wanted the day to continue. So I mean, we drove 40 minutes home from the advocacy trip and the baseball game, where it's like we didn't want to come home, so we go to Applebee's at 11 o'clock at night.
Half off apps.
Exactly, just take advantage of the half off apps because we wanted to keep going, and so we did. We enjoyed that night. Well, we get home, it's just like, well, there's absolutely no reason that we have to unload the car to take everything out, and we're just like, we put in enough today, we'll take care of it tomorrow. And then we wake up today. Notice I didn't say this morning because
well, it was late morning, but we did
late
wake
morning.
up.
We are able to wake up, but it's just like the thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to clean out the van. We're gonna have to do this. I got to clean this up. Rather than sit and wait and think and let this get to be a big mountain, it's like the least I can do is just go and get my clothes out of the back seat.
Just chip away a little.
Just chip away. And all of a sudden you take care of one thing. It's like, oh, well, I can do this thing. It's like one more thing. What's that
expression? Rome wasn't built in a day.
Rome wasn't built in a day. You just keep chipping away. And so then all of a sudden, boom, I got everything cleaned up and it's done.
And we were a little irresponsible last night. Because it was late, but we also knew this is again the end of the summer, that we were going to probably sleep in later today and enjoy our Saturday.
Just to enjoy, I think.
And to recharge our batteries. You've been dealing with a nasty cold.
We've been working, I think this is the third show we've done where we've commented and I've probably coughed. I mean, because things get busy, and I think it was just like using this today as the day to truly sleep in and get caught up. I think you said we'll wake up organically.
Organically. And
rather than
that's a
set an
really
alarm.
good phrase for those of us living with any sort of chronic illness. Sometimes you just have to give yourself a break and say, you know, I'm going to wake up organically. I'm going to let my body's internal clock wake us up. And it woke me up at 8, and we got up to use the restroom. And then my body organically said, let's go back to sleep. Let's get a little more sleep. We need it. And you woke up today, and I have not heard you once say, oh, I'm so tired. You got a good night of recuperative and recovering sleep. And that's a goal for any person with multiple sclerosis.
And that's not being lazy. It's like, you know, and you live in that moment. It's just like, okay, because we can go back to sleep, let's just do this. We don't need to get up and do everything right now. Let's just get the rest so we can be more productive. And I think, you know, that I got the van cleaned up. You did, excuse me.
There's that nagging
cough. But it's just like we did stuff, we cleaned things up.
And we know that next week we have an incredibly busy week on our calendar. We have a lot to do. Students will be back up here at Central Michigan University. I will be starting physical therapy and my move exercise class with the PET kids from CMU for the people with Parkinson's and people living with multiple sclerosis. You will be working. So we took advantage of one more weekend before life gets busy again.
And living in the moment. I mean, and that's the big thing that we really wanted to push today, is just encourage you, plan things out, but once things are planned, live in the moment. Do what you need to do right now, whether it's work, whether it's a radio show, whether it's taking your medicine, you know, whatever. Live in the moment.
And don't be so hard on yourself. Your body will thank you. And I imagine your caregiver, your care partner, your spouse, they'll thank you too for living in the moment and being present.
And so we want to thank you all again for taking the time to listen to a couple takes on MS today. Check us out, Dan and Jennifer Digman. We are online. It's danandjenniferdigman.com or on Twitter at DanJenDig. Let us know, how do you live in the moment, and what are the keys to helping you to move forward when living with multiple sclerosis. So I want to thank you again, and thank you to the MS&Me Radio Network for having us here with you, and thanks to Blue Draft Kid for composing the theme music to our show. Talk to you next time. Take care.